Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video, doing the April month-ahead forecast for today's first video. Later on we'll have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. We'll start off having a review of March, and we'll also have a sneak peek at the end for May, the final month of the spring. So quite a lot to cram in. The March forecast went quite well for temperature, not quite as well for precipitation, although we haven't got the final stats in yet. We predicted a significantly warmer than average March, and that has indeed occurred, although we don't yet know how warm it's been. We also predicted precipitation to be a little bit above average, and that's where things went a bit wrong. Actually, some western and northwestern parts of the country did have quite a wet month, but down in the south and the east, it wasn't all that wet. High pressure was a little bit stronger than anticipated. I'm going to show you the central temperature for March, but this is only provisional up to the 30th. We still haven't updated for the monthly figure. So up to the 30th, we stand at 8.4, which is an anomaly of nearly 3 degrees above average. So it really was a very warm month indeed. Now, this is normally corrected down a little bit. I normally take 0.2 or 0.3 of a degree off. So I would suspect it's going to probably finish up somewhere around, say, 8.0, maybe a little bit above that, 8.1, something like that, which is still going to be around 2.5 degrees above average. So it has been a very significantly warmer than average month. That's set against 61 to 1990. It won't be quite such a big deviation against the more modern average, 81 to 2010, but it'll still be very significantly warmer than average. So the warmer than average side of the March forecast went well. The precipitation side not quite as well, except for the north and west, where it was a fairly wet month. Now, going through to April, this is what the CFS V2 model is predicting for April in terms of the 700 millibar height anomaly. It has a anomalous ridge down to the southwest of the country, with below average heights up to the north, and the jet streams coming through rather like that. So it implies quite a lot of settled weather down across the south. It implies the most unsettled conditions likely to be up in the north and the west, but overall fair amount of dryish weather. Temperatures probably not probably still a bit above average, but probably not the deviation that we've seen for March and we saw back in February. The reason I say that is that we've got quite a influence from the Atlantic and possibly from a fairly northern part of the Atlantic. And of course, as we get through into this part of the year, it becomes more evident actually to get through to the summer, but to get through to this part of the year, this isn't as mild as it is back in the winter. So this kind of a pressure anomaly in January would be a significantly milder than average month. In April, it's probably not such a big deviation, to be fair. So I expect temperature anomalies probably do come out a bit above average, but probably not sort of to 2.5 degrees, even 3 degrees above average. This is what the model is predicting in terms of the temperature anomaly. It is going milder than average, quite obviously, as it is for most parts of Europe. Our temperature anomaly is somewhere around half a degree to 1 degree above average. So a solidly milder than average month, but not the hugely warmer than average month that we've had in March. Precipitation with high pressure just to our southwest, we're coming out drier than average. You'd expect that. We've got a ridge sitting somewhere down here, so the jet stream is up here. And, of course, what's going on there, the main rain-bearing systems are along that jet stream, generally to our north. Most unsettled conditions would be likely in the northwest of the country. So a milder, drier than average month is the signal from the CFS V2. What about Beijing Climate Centre? These are the 500 millibar height anomalies broken down into weekly periods. The first week period taking us from into 10-day periods, I should say. First 10-day period going from the 1st through to the 10th of April. We find that we've got an area of above average heights around much of northern western Europe, with low pressure up to the north and in the Atlantic. Jet streams doing something a bit like that. So good agreement there, certainly for the first 10 days anyway, with the Beijing Climate Centre compared to the pattern that the CFS V2 is going for the month. Now, the next 10-day period, quite interestingly, this goes from the 11th through to the 20th. This one goes more unsettled. So those below average heights are coming back. The ridge is pulling out into the middle of the Atlantic. Jet stream is going a bit further south as well. That looks a lot more unsettled and also quite a lot cooler as well. So a fairly cool, unsettled period there through the middle part of April. And then go through to the next 10-day period, the final 10 days of the month, 21st through to the 30th of April, and we find above average heights coming back to our west. So it's turning more settled. We're losing that unsettled period. The flow is probably going something a bit like that, and again over here. So I would suspect that is an improving scenario through the final 10 days of April. I wouldn't be expecting particularly warm weather with that. In fact, it could be a little bit on the chilly side, actually. But certainly heights are rising, so fine weather is coming back. So pretty a month of 3 halves from the Beijing Climate Centre. We start off with a lot of dry, settled and mild weather. We go through a more unsettled, cooler, changeable interlude, and then we go back to fairly settled weather once again. This is how the overall 500 mm height anomaly is looking for April with the Beijing Climate Centre. We see an anomalous ridge to our west-southwest and below average heights to the north, and the flow going something like that. But we do know that there is a lot of intra-month variation through the 10-day periods. The temperature anomaly is coming out milder than average. That's a solid signal from both of these models to have a warmer than average month during April. And the precipitation anomaly, more or less, it's looking drier than average. It is a bit wetter than average across the far north, across Scotland, but for the rest of the country, it's looking pretty well drier than average. So between the two models, we've got pretty good agreement for a milder and a drier than average April. But we know that does mask quite a lot of variation, certainly in terms of what the Beijing Climate Centre is doing. I think we probably will have another milder than average month. So the GasWeatherVid's April forecast is going to predict another milder than average month. But I don't think we'll have the kind of deviation that we've had during February and March. I don't think we'll be running sort of 2.5 degrees above average. I think we'll be closer to average, but still on the milder side. So I would suspect around half a degree, 1 degree above average. And if we compare that 61 to 990, if we compare to 81 to 2010, probably even closer to average. So a little bit milder than average for April. Also predicting for precipitation, probably still coming out drier than average. Between all of this, there's a lot of signals for above average heights. But I think probably do get a more extended spell of unsettled weather through the middle phase. But probably timed just nicely for Easter, unfortunately. There may be a cold snap in there as well sometime around Easter. So overall, the GasWeatherVid's April month-end forecast predicting mild and average month, not as warm in terms of average as the past couple of months, and precipitation probably sit a bit on the drier side as well, but there will be an unsettled phase, and that's most likely through the middle part of the month. Finally, just having a sneak peek at May. This is what the CFS V2 is predicting in terms of 700 mm height anomaly for May. It has an area above average heights to our west northwest, and what that would do, it would actually bring us the winds around from the north or the northeast. So again, probably fairly dry conditions with that. I don't think it's a particularly wet scenario, but that could be quite a cool scenario. It may be, if that came off as the model is predicting, that we might get our first cooler, colder than average month of the year in May, with the winds coming in from a northeasterly type direction. We'll worry about that when we get to it. Got enough to be going on with April. So finally, in summary, GasWeatherVid's April 2017 forecast for a slightly milder than average month, not as warm to average as the past couple of months. Precipitation probably a bit on the drier side, but we are expecting quite an extended period of unsettled weather through the middle phase of the month. Right, that's all for now. We'll be looking at weather the next week to 10 days in a little while on the homepage, so come back for that later this afternoon. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.